Hey everyone, welcome on Friday morning to Passion, Purpose, and Possibilities. Thanks for tuning in, thanks for being on, I appreciate it. Today we are going to be joined by a special guest of Kyrsti Snyder. If you may have watched our other show of Dreadnought Mondays, we've had her on our other show, and we're looking forward to talking to her as well. Hey Kyrsti, how's it going?
Hi, it's good. Okay, I can hear you.
Awesome. We are live. Are you good to go?
Yes, awesome.
Sweet, we are live. Trying something new here with Facebook, and not Facebook, but YouTube. So
Nice.
I'm making sure I get everything switched over. Sweet. I haven't done that before. Going straight from Zoom live on YouTube. So here we are.
Yeah. Streaming in can be interesting, but I'm glad we're doing it. Sweet.
So thanks for being willing to jump on. Now, you were on our other show a couple months ago, Dreadnought Mondays, and that was an awesome show. And I want to use that to kind of segue into some of the topics, and we'll see how today goes. But I've got a couple topics I want to start with. And you and I have discussed this off camera as well. Burn the boat and crabs in a bucket.
Yeah.
So, and to go along with that, starting with what you have and where you are with what you have. And it's
go ahead.
It's interesting because when I did the podcast with you on Dreadnought Mondays, I was actually, and I'm going to throw myself under the bus, if you will, I was actually in my dad's shed, and he had some blank white posters, and that's what you saw behind me. And if you were able to see behind the computers to see what I was seeing, you'd see some coolers and boxes and tools and whatever else. But up until this point, you had no idea. We made it work. We made it still happen.
Nope. Sure. Yeah.
So and I've learned that over the years of not letting, excuse me, oh, I don't have this, or this isn't quite right, stop you, and it's easier said than done, as you and I have discussed many times. But I just wanted to bring that up so you can start where you are with what you have and make it happen.
So, you can. That's definitely true.
Well, that's part of the reason with the show is if you're passion and purpose, you're gonna find it. Find those passion, purpose, and those possibilities. And jumping into burn the boat, we all kind of know that story, but I'll just go over it real quick. Proctor used the example of a warrior who went to war, and when he got to his enemy's country, he ordered his soldiers to burn the boat. So they had no escape route, no plan B. They were either going to win or they were going to die. So that's where burn the boat comes from. Don't have a backup. Oh, I'm going to keep my eye open just in case, or I'll keep this going just in case, or blah, blah, blah. And specifically, in one of your lives that you did a little while ago, you used the example of, I'll keep my franchise because that's how I'm making money. Sorry, I got my notes over here. That's why I'm...
You're good.
and then you continue by saying, I'm going to quit my job so I can start my business and continue to pay my bills. Expand on that for a minute, if you will. Kind of how you yourself transitioned from the, oh, this is how I pay my bills, to this is what's going to help me or allow me to continue to provide for my family and more.
Yeah, sure. So here's the thing. This is where people get a little bit more stuck than they maybe lead on. And I think it's completely normal. Mostly because people have been programmed in certain ways. So their paradigm or a pattern, a habit, a repetitious behavior has been a certain way for them for, say, 3, 4, 5 decades, right? Depending how old they are. So when they introduce something new, it feels really off-putting because they've not done something like that before. It makes sense that they keep a job, a corporate job that pays X amount, 9 to 5. Heaven forbid they do their side hustle because they don't have proof of where the money comes from yet, how often, how much, where in their corporate job they have that proof. So it's really uncomfortable and off-putting for someone to have and adopt the belief that, okay, well, this, for me, my franchise is commission-based. There was no, you get paid this amount no matter what, right? But I was so consistent in how much I was doing each month that for me to put myself in a position where I didn't have that felt uncomfortable. What I realized is my belief about this is how I'm paying my bills right now, this is my source of income. That belief is just the same choice as a belief saying, I'm going to do my purpose and passion because I will still be able to pay my bills. They're both beliefs, they're both assumptions. And for me, I decided to take some inventory to say what assumption feels better, what belief feels better. Because what you think about grows and what you resist will persist. So when I'm resisting, can't quit my franchise, I have to stay with it. That kept perpetuating, that kept happening to me because that's what I was focusing on. The belief, the adopted belief that I then shifted to was, if I can make money with my franchise, if I'm the point of attraction for how much money I make and when, it doesn't matter where the money comes from. It matters that I'm the point of attraction for that. The money might come through a certain company, but you get to decide how much and how often you're paid because you're the point of attraction for that money.
That's awesome. And again, it takes a while to comprehend. I'm still working on it myself because you.
Well,
like
it's the spaced repetition.
Yeah, like you said in that paradigm, and I've been deep diving into that more. I've been studying Think and Grow Rich, and then Bob Proctor.
Beautiful.
And it's putting it into a way that I can understand it better. That so you know how to change it and stuff. And like you said, it's that repetition. What do you believe? I was talking to my sister the other day, and I used the analogy of her goal was to walk towards that light pole over there, but her paradigm is like someone pulling on her arm, like, no, wait, you don't know what's over there. You can't see everything. What if it doesn't work? So grasping those little concepts can make a huge difference. And then putting it into perspective for yourself and how it applies to you. Because when I first heard paradigm shift, it was like,
yeah.
Oh no, she's using a big word. So you have to dive deep into what a paradigm is and translate that into your language. And then you'll understand what that big word means.
Sure. Well, and it's the language. Your language determines a lot of what happens in your life. So don't use the word paradigm. Cool. Use habit. Use behavior. Because for the last 3 decades, Kenny, you've behaved in a certain way, but it's because of your belief system in here. So just like going towards this goal, if you don't know how to do it and you feel like people are pulling you back like crabs in a bucket, it's because you're allowing that to happen. You're giving permission for that. and your focus is also on how people are holding you back. The reality is, if you were to adopt the belief that you're going to attain this thing regardless of what people say or approve of, you'd go and do that. It's the same amount of energy to choose this as it is that. We just normally choose what's harder for some reason.
Yeah, it goes back
it's like having weeds, right? Weeds just pop out of nowhere. They could literally grow from the sidewalk out of nowhere. They don't even need fertile ground. That's just the same as negative thoughts. We've been programmed more often than not to think negatively about something, just like the example of your sister. You aren't there yet. You don't know what's going to happen. What if it doesn't work? Why is the belief not, what if it does work? Because both are assumptions, both have no proof, but yet you're feeding into the one that feels crappy. Why? How is that serving you?
Yeah, I like how you put, you're allowing others to hold you back. Mm-hmm. You know, when you said that in previous trainings and stuff that you've done and previous conversations, it hit me. It's like, wow. It's like, here, Kyrsti, hold me back. Don't let me go anywhere. I'm giving you full permission.
Right.
or whoever, you know. Here, mom. Here, dad. Here, boss. Mm-hmm. Here, self. That's where a lot of those crabs in the bucket are. Mm-hmm. You know, is you're allowing yourself to hold yourself back.
Well, and sometimes it's even just the identity of that. It's not necessarily the person. Because you can label all day long, oh, that person held me back. That person doesn't believe in me. That person doesn't understand my vision. But here's the thing. If you understand it, it does not matter. And the fact that you're putting so much energy and so much identification around this person is controlling me, maybe that in and of itself could be the problem. Because you could also adapt and adopt the identity that nothing holds you back. I have a new affirmation that says, I accept a new belief in an instant. Because think about it. When COVID hit and everything everywhere was saying, oh my gosh, we're running out of supplies, stock up on toilet paper and everyone's hand sanitizer. Blah. Had the belief been there's plenty for everybody, no one would have hoarded the stores. No one would have acted out of scarcity. No one would have felt unprepared or out of fear or worrisome. Had we thought and fed into the belief that the supply will always be there, it would have been. And it was for the people who believed that.
Yeah, I like that. And, you know, if you go back and read the actual reports and not what the media tells you, you know, the manufacturers of toilet paper weren't making any less. Mm-hmm. You know, they weren't holding any back, or there wasn't some freak thing going on in the shipping department. Mm-hmm. You know,
it was an idea that someone perpetuated. It was an idea that someone held on to. And then what did they do? They created all these assumptions and all these ideas around it. The thing is, though, ideas can be changed. So if your idea about something does not feel good, adopt a new belief. That's why I have that affirmation. I accept a new belief in an instant. Because me accepting the belief that there's no toilet paper, I accepted that in an instant, did I not? So why would I not accept a belief that's actually empowering? Same amount of energy, same amount of choice.
I like that. And it's, I think it's also important to point out how, like you said, an idea can be blown out of proportion. You know, the whole toilet paper thing might have been somebody talking to their neighbors like, yeah, I've heard the pandemic might get bad. You might want to grab an extra pack. Mm-hmm. You know, just grab a few extra rolls or whatever. And then it turns into, the toilet paper's running out. Everybody run. Right.
Well, and that's a paradigm. Because if someone grew up seeing and hearing their friends and family and their parents say, we don't have enough, you need to be prepared, you need to be realistic, all of those things. It's not that the parents or the family meant it in a bad way. It's just they were operating on their own conditioning too. So you get to forgive that person for not understanding. And then you get to forgive yourself for now being an awareness that it can be different.
I like that, exactly. Because what may have been the case for, let's say, your parents, and they may have the full legitimate reason why they did what they did, it may not apply now to you or to 2021. But in 1980 or whatever the case is, I'm just throwing out a number, it was 100% legit and fully applied. So you gotta reassess and find those paradigms that are always shifting. And that makes me think a rainy day. I know you're not a big fan of saving for the rainy day.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes back to what we're conditioned, and I think it's good sense to have some because you don't want to be like strapped for everything, but not, oh, that's only for this and kind of thing. But would you mind expounding on that a little bit and that crab in a bucket?
Sure. Yeah, for sure. So rainy day, what Kenny's talking about is when someone has $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 in their savings account, you ask them what it's for, and they say for a rainy day. It's my security blanket. It's my, in case something bad happens. The very fact that you labeled that money for the bad that may happen, the car breaking down, you need a new refrigerator, your tire blows, say you get a toothache, you need to go to the dentist, whatever it is. The very fact that you labeled that money to be supplied, demanded for that reason, that is the only thing that money will go to. So instead, just like we've been talking about, have your savings account be for something of creation. Have your savings account be something that inspires. Why can't the savings account be, this is our trip to Italy? Whether you take the trip to Italy or not, does it not feel better, more uplifting and empowering and exciting to say, this $5,000 is for our family trip to Italy, rather than this $5,000 is for the crap that's going to happen when my car breaks down, because I love when my car breaks down? Which one feels better? Because it's the supply and demand thing. If you demand the money to show up for that cause, it will. So when crap happens and a rainy day comes, oh, well, no wonder you asked for it. We're always asking. We just aware when we ask, it literally happens. So why not ask for something that you want rather than what you've been conditioned to prepare for? I said on the training this morning something about sometimes the decisions we make are fear-based as practicality. But it's not practical to have a savings account for a rainy day. It's also not practical to have a savings account for a trip. But which one feels better? Because I'd say the second one, whether I go on a trip or not, the very fact that my energy is saying I deserve the trip, I'm excited to go and have family time and have this hotel and all of these things, that's in creation. Having a savings account for a rainy day of something bad's going to happen is attracting the bad to you. It's asking the universe for something that you have to struggle with. Yuck. I don't want a part of that.
Yeah, so relabel it and change how you feel about it. Now, to go along with that, let's say someone takes that $5,000 and they take a trip to Italy and get back, and then their car breaks down, and then they have nothing. They're like, well, that didn't work. Because it's so easy to jump back into that old paradigm. How would you address that? Because there's so many people.
So here's the thing. It's not because your label of what that money is going to is not going to happen or that it is going to happen. It's simply just asking for what it is you want rather than focusing on what you don't want. So let's say you do take the trip. Okay, let's say you go to Orlando for a week and your kids love it and you're at Disney World, right? You love it. You come back, your fridge breaks down, you're out $1,000. Darn. Here's the thing. The energy in which you do the thing determines the outcome. So do not go on the trip if you're going to sit there and think, oh, this is going to be bad. I'm going to need this money. I really can't afford this. But Kyrsti said to spend money. So if your energy about it is not in what you want, don't do it. There's the difference between saying, I can't afford that, and I'm choosing not to buy that today. One says it's external, I have to wait for this and that, and it's not in my control. And one says, I'm taking the ownership and power back instead of having money control me. Money is just paper with dead guys on it. Good for them, right? But for some reason, us as humans who are creative beings and can actually change what happens in our life because of our imagination, because of our memory, all of that, we're having money determine if we can or can't do something. Who wears the pants in the relationship? Shoot, you know? Because money has no value, none, until you use it, until you spend it, until you invest it. So me growing up, I came from a wealthy family. I'm wealthy now myself, but that came because I chose to feed what I wanted rather than feed what I was worried about.
I like that. And I'm going to go back to the fridge and say, you know, let's say you go to Orlando or Italy and you're all in it, you know, you're not worried about, well, now what happens if, you know, then you come home and your fridge breaks. I knew I shouldn't have done that. Or, and this is something I've been working on, it's like, okay, my fridge broke. I know that I'm going to find the money to fix it. I'll figure it out. That's, you know, just like you said, the way you think about it, the way you go about the approach of it.
Yep. The energy in which you do the thing determines the outcome. So it's not that you can't have $1,000 to fix your fridge. It's not because you can't take the vacation, come back, and have something bad happen. Things will happen. It's a law of polarity. It's a law of rhythm. What goes up, what goes down. You can't have inside with outside. When you're working within the laws of the universe, the natural laws, it's equally present at every single time. So when you're working with the law of supply and demand, for example, if your demand for the $1,000 to fix your fridge is accurate, and it is something that says, I want a new fridge because I love my healthy food. I want to be able to eat. I mean, those types of words are so much better than, oh no, our milk's gonna go bad and I can't afford my fridge, and you can't afford the fridge. You always find the money for what is needed. Every single time. Whether that's a trip to Arby's because it sounded good, that's a vacation, that's a course, that's, you know, getting a new car, making a payment on something, getting a pair of earrings. I mean, you always find the money. So why would a fridge be any different, you know?
Yeah, it's all how you approach it, how you think about it. You know, I need a new set of shoelaces, I need a new fridge. I'll find the money, you know, it's what I want, kind of thing.
Right, because nothing is created or destroyed. So when I was talking with a client the other day, and she needs about 20 grand to start a business that she really feels passionate about. And she said, yeah, but Kyrsti, where's the money going to come from? I don't have good credit. You know, I don't know who to borrow from. She's going into this. I can't see where it is. And I simply said, where's the money going to come from? Wherever it is right now. Because nothing's created or destroyed. Everything is here, equally present at every single moment. And if that really is the case, then the money comes when you demand it to be here. And just like you know, demand is not a bad thing. I used to think it was, demanding, like it was a, you know, rude, jerky way of doing something, right? Demand actually means you expect it without question. So when you demand the universe, demand money to show up, demand good health, it is burning the bridge and burning the boat and taking the island. Because you know it's coming. It's without question. No doubt. No fear. Just faith.
I like that. And you answered my next question, which was how would you apply this to someone who was going after something they're passionate about, and you just talked about your client, you know, she obviously was passionate about it and has a clear goal, has a vision of it. You know, just I use the analogy quite a bit of like a road trip. You know, we said Orlando. I don't know if it's gonna snow or rain on my way through. If I'm driving the car, I don't know if it's gonna be rainy in Arkansas or if there's gonna be road construction or, you know, oh, I don't know what's gonna happen in Alabama. I better not go.
Right.
Now I know that's a lot easier said than done, and I'm throwing myself under the bus. But if you apply those and think about those in a positive ways, like I have a vision, I'll figure it out. You might slip up and hang up and let some of those crabs still go in your bucket, but you'll get there if you know, the more desire, the more passion and intent you put behind it, the quicker you'll get there, the better results you'll have.
Well, and it's detaching yourself from your physical. Okay, so your see, smell, taste, touch here. You'll hear me say that all the time. Detach from your 5 senses and embrace your 6 higher faculties. Because here's the thing. Steve Jobs said it best. Something about when you look back, you can always connect the dots. Always. Every time you look back, you can always connect the dots. So use that as evidence that everything you need will be supplied to you in the very moment you need it. Not, oh, well, what if I get stuck in Alabama? What if it rains? And who cares? If you know your destination, it doesn't matter what comes up during that, because you're using your will and your imagination muscle to say this is happening regardless. Not, it'll happen until, you know, have you really burned your boat and taken your island if you have your boat still, right?
Exactly.
You have a backup plan, the noise in the background saying, I'll do it until. Imagine getting married and saying, I'll marry you until, you know, I'll commit to you until. You probably shouldn't get married anyway. Now, things happen. People create differently. Not every marriage will work out. Not every business partnership will work out. But in the moment when you're committing to it, you have the confidence to say, this is me. This is what I want. And I'm going to get there regardless of what happens on my trip there. Because it's in the trip there that your destination actually becomes better. It's like pulling out of your driveway. If you did not have a destination, oh, I'm just going west. Well, when you got there, people ask, where are you going? I don't know, just still going west. How would you know you ever arrived? If you had no, which way would you turn out of your driveway, right?
Yeah, because you could keep going west, and then you'll end up back where you started, but you can still go west again.
And then you just keep going round and round and round and round and round in circles? For what? There'd be no point.
Something else I've been learning, you know, to go back with the analogy of the road trip, is the lessons and the growth that you go through those experiences. If it rains in Alabama, you go, oh crap, it's raining. Well, I'm turning around. Or it's raining. This allows me to improve my driving skills. You know, or whatever your analogy wants to be, or whatever your case may be. You know, it took me a long time to recognize some of those lessons. You know, crap, there's 6 inches of snow on the freeway, but because of that, I know how to drive in the snow. Right. I know
it's
not to go 90 miles an hour, but there's 6 inches of snow.
Right. Well, and that applies to life too, because here's the thing is, because you can connect the dots looking back every single time, you have to adopt the belief that everything you need will be presented to you in the moment you need it, rather than coming from lack and scarcity because you're not sure and it's not here yet. Control what you can control, which is in this moment right now at 10:30, not what I can control at 11:30. But when I have the right intention for what's going to happen in an hour, in a day, in a year, my attention is there. Here's the thing too, is If you're going on a trip from Utah to Florida and you have to pass through a bunch of states for that, isn't that just like life? You have to pass through certain goals in order to hit the big whammy, right? You don't just hit the big whammy, you would be taking steps to get there. Right? Because it's the consistency, it's the effort. Your destination might be more grand actually later because of what you're intentionally going through. Because there's no other choice, there's no other way about it. It's not just let's plug along and I'll try really hard to do something. No. When you are in your right rhythm and you are in the right energy for what you want, it is effortless. It is not supposed to be easier said than done. That's not a belief of who you are. That's a belief, Kenny, that you've probably adapted to yourself because you've seen other people say it. You've heard your parents say it. You've heard your sister say it. You know, your friend at work said, oh, well, it's easier said than done. I can't be the top sales guy until, okay. But then how do you explain the top sales guy who's the new guy? Easier said than done? Or I can do anything I want in an instant because I chose to, right? Which one feels better?
Exactly. It's all how you look at it.
Yep.
Now you mentioned you know, if you're married and stuff, you may not be creative in the same ways. Let's say you're going to Florida. You're driving from Utah to Florida and stuff, and you want to go down through Alabama and Louisiana, but your spouse wants to go through Tennessee and Nebraska and Virginia and then down. You know, your end goal is the same, but your planning or your route to that goal or your method of accomplishing that goal is different. How do you work together? How do you make that work without?
Well, you have to understand that just like sand in an ocean, okay, on the beach, inside the ocean, the water, all of that, each sand particle, and even like a snowflake, each snowflake falls differently than another. Each one comes differently. A spouse is programmed differently than you because of their upbringing, because of what they heard, their perception about things. You and I could watch the same movie. I could think it was absolutely mind-blowing and awesome, and you could think it was so stupid, right? Both of our perceptions are accurate. It'd be just the same as if I say, hey, is my phone lit up? Is it lit up?
Yeah, from my perspective, it's not, and yours is different.
But if you don't know if my phone's lit up or not, you would say, yeah, Kyrsti, it's just the marble. Hello, it's just the phone case, right? And as you sit and say, no, really, that is how it is. Look, it is not lit up. Come on, dummy, right? The more often you hold on to that thought, that perception, the more evidence you have, right? But then on my end, I'm seeing it light up and not light up because I keep touching it or I don't. But you don't know that until you literally change your perception. You shift it. You literally are looking at it differently. So with a spouse, your destination might be the same. In fact, it probably ought to be, right? That's why you're married, you're creative, you're together, right? You have the same vision, but your way of going about it is going to be different. And that's actually a blessing instead of a hindrance. It's not because you're going to butt heads. It's because you're taking two different perceptions, making it more grand, more beneficial, because you're just like the reason you have a coach. You might know everything that you should be doing, but you don't yet have what you know, right? So you have a coach to give you perspective for things that you can't see. It's just like if I hold my hand right here, I have contacts in. I might even have 20/20 vision, but if I hold my hand right here, it's blurry. It's only when I go back, even just 6 inches, like a dollar bill, that I can actually see it. A coach, a spouse, a business partner, they give you the outside perspective for what it is maybe you cannot see. That's why partnerships are so incredible. That's why the reason someone is more successful than another, that's why they take people with them.
Like that. That makes me think of Think and Grow Rich, where he talks about the power of the mastermind and how if you have two minds that are in sync, if you will,
yes, yes,
they create a third mind.
Yes.
You know, it's that third vision that neither one of you saw alone, but because you collaborated, you created that. So I like that, and you know, it points out your perspective, how you view it, because we could be going to Florida, and me and my spouse could be doing this the whole time, or hey, I didn't think of that. That is going to make the trip all the much better.
Well, think of it this way, two ways. First, when you have more energy, like tuning into a frequency, a radio station, calling you, not Bob, whoever. If I call you, I'm not going to get Bob. I would call Kenny, right? So you would pick up, not Bob. So when you have the right frequency, and think of it like a battery, if you have 3 batteries compared to 1, the volume is louder, the radio works better, there's more energy literally in a battery when there's more than 1, more power. Same thing with people. And on top of that, when you think of other people's perceptions, this is probably, I mean, this is a really good like mic drop, I guess, is when you are intentionally leaving everyone with an impression of increase. Every single person you come in contact with, whether it's a podcast like this, it's someone at a grocery store, you smile at someone, whatever it is, genuinely. Don't just flatter because, you know, you're checking off the list. But when you intentionally leave every single person you come in contact with an impression of increase, perception shifts, you're in a higher vibration, your frequency is larger, and it helps that person say, yes, I'm worth it too. So just like a battery, when you are in the power with someone, you have a stronger impact, you have a stronger vibration, which naturally creates more strength for yourself.
I love that. And I've seen that firsthand, like at the grocery store. I get up to the register, how you doing today? When I used to be like, glad it's Friday, you know, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But then I shifted, I'm doing fabulous. It's been an awesome day. You can feel like somebody's excited.
Oh, me too. Yeah, because
excitement.
I'm doing fantastic. I'm doing fabulous. I am so great today. It's so different than how you doing. Did you find everything okay? Yeah, I did. I'm good. Even if you are good and your interpretation of good is actually being super wonderful, it goes back to language. How you do the thing, the energy in which you do the thing determines the outcome. So if someone says, how are you? How are you? Right? Someone who is in ease, in creation, is expressing. If someone's super excited about something, they don't say, hey, Kenny, I'm excited. Right? They express it. It's explosive. When someone suppresses, what does that lead to? Dis-ease. They hide it, they squander it, they're in fear. It's not good vibes, it's not good vibration, and their frequency goes down because they're not expressing, they're not increasing. So the more often we can be increasing around each other, maximizing our talents, maximizing other people, seeing the good in them, the less tension there would be on a road trip, a destination, the less tension there would be in your own fear or your scarcity. You would only be thinking things of abundance. 100%.
Awesome. Kyrsti, thank you for being on here. If there was one or two other final little things you would tell my audience, what would that be?
I would say that your choice, your assumption to believe something of lack, of poverty, of scarcity, of fear, takes the same amount of energy to believe something of abundance, prosperity, and faith. So make sure what you're choosing to feed into is something that is increasing. It's something that does allow yourself to be in creation rather than disintegration.
Love it. Love it. And if you have any questions or need any help, I would highly recommend reaching out to Kyrsti. I've been working with her, and she is phenomenal. So, again, Kyrsti, thank you for being here. Much appreciated. And everyone, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Alrighty. Bye, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Kyrsti. Sweet. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's see here. I am going to.
That ended perfectly because I'm at 11% battery.
Oh. So sweet.
I was worried that it would die like midway. Be like, oh, sorry. Well,
you're thinking in the negative. What? What?
Well, the thing is, so my computer's really good, and my battery's new, so I'm not. I don't know why it's kind of confusing to me, actually. But part of it is I just did a training for like 45 minutes. And then I sat with my computer off, charged it, and it was at like 50%. And it's usually about an hour that it will die. If I'm on a podcast like this, like where it's streaming or something. So, meh. Someone's got to create, right? Because it's needed. It's a demanded. Someone's got to create a battery that lasts longer.
There you go. The new Kyrsti Snyder battery coming to you soon.
Yeah, exactly. Except no one would be able to find it because no one can ever spell my name right. So maybe
I know I messed it up when I first said Kyrsti. No, it's Kyrsti.
Yeah, just think air. I know it's hard. It's fine.
Awesome. Again, I appreciate it, and I will talk to you soon.
Alrighty. Thanks, Kitty. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Oh, there, car. Stop streaming.